After the infamous Moon Tribe, a feral band of gnolls, made their attack on Brimcham, the 3 prisoners released from the jail during the skirmish were charged to enter the Dimhaven and return the townspeople who were abducted in the siege. Aisling, the halfling bard, Honeybadger, the bugbear rogue, and Justice, the tiefling wizard. The Dimhaven is an ever-growing aura of decay that warps flourishing and bountiful land, converting it to a wasteland of death and dread. It continues to grow, now reaching the border of Brimcham itself. It has been deemed off-limits for general travel, and anyone entering the horrific forest does so at their own risk. Less than a day's travel into the journey, tracking the gnolls, the recently titled Book Dudes were ambushed by a giant spider. Justice was mortally wounded and died. Knowing they wouldn't be able to return to Brimcham if they don't succeed in their goal, and not wanting to be exiled to the Dimhaven forever, Aisling and Honeybadger continued on their path. Eventually, they stumbled upon a small offset of the gnolls taking shelter in a cave just off the main road. This resulted in a conflict with the gnolls, which began to get overwhelming as a couple more emerged from the cave entrance. However, 2 strangers also emerged from behind those gnolls. The half-elf sorcerer Jackie, who, unbeknownst to Honey or Aisling, is the sister of Justice, and the Goliath barbarian Ursa, who has her own mysterious past that hasn't been shared with the party at this point. In the morning, the Book Dudes, now with their 2 new companions, continued to follow the tracks. The gnoll tracks led away from the main road and followed the river north, so our adventurers did the same. The following day, after surviving an ambush of gnoll sentries, the party found the entrance to the mine of Frasnogur, a lost mine that hasn't been seen since the arrival of the Dimhaven. In the mine, Aisling found a sealed letter from the goddess O'Keefe of Norimo on the dead body of one of the goddess's envoys. The letter was encoded, but after casting Comprehend Language, she discovered it is a letter of intent. The goddess O'Keefe and Empress Riccio are both uncertain of what to do about the expanding Dimhaven and offer an agreement of cooperation to formulate a strategy to deal with the growing concern. Further in the mine, the party encountered a small gathering of Brimcham residents, 2 couples and a disheveled Brimcham guard. Aisling, disguised as a gnoll, albeit a very short gnoll, miraculously was able to convince the sentries she was here to transport the prisoners to the boss, shying away from specifics as much as possible. She was successful. However, as they made their exit, one of the gnolls spotted Jackie, which led to another fight. In this fight, the 4 residents were told to run, and they did, but the guard, endearingly referred to as Sticky, since he was given a quarterstaff to fight with, was slain in the skirmish, much to the dismay of the whole group. Sounds echoed from another tunnel of more residents in distress. After a breather to gather their strength, the group made their way down the tunnel, first encountering a single gnoll forcing 2 women to torture their own husbands. Ursa, in a fit of rage, charged at the amused gnoll, and with 2 swings managed to cleave its head from its shoulders. In the confusion, the residents made a break for it. Before they could continue their exploration of the mine, Jackie felt a hand at her side. Quickly, she smacked it away, prompting the would-be thief to reveal himself to the party. It was a somewhat scrawny man, clad in an elvish cloak, who introduced himself simply as Hot Pocket. The smug thief insincerely apologized for his actions and for thinking they would make easy targets, and offered instead to exchange information if they were willing to pay. 30 gold pieces later, Hot Pocket explained to them that continuing down their path is suicide. Not only will there be more gnolls, but an undead warlock named Belak, who commands them, as well as a large 15-foot creature that also does the bidding of the mage. Once the transaction concluded, Hot Pocket slipped into the shadows once more, with the party not heeding his warning and continuing down the path anyway. The tunnel brought them to a huge opening where they saw about a dozen Brimcham townfolk and a bunch of corpses being wrangled together by the aforementioned 15-foot giant. Jackie took notice that Belek was in conversation with the giant bugbear, the very same one who attacked Brimcham, and who Honeybadger recognized as actually being an Oni, assuming the shape of a bugbear. The exchange ended with a dark elf entering the room from the opposite side, with a few more bodies in tow. Amongst these corpses, Jackie was horrified to see the body of her dead sister, Justice. Before she could make any real reaction, the dark elf opened a planar rift. Through the purple glowing tear in reality, they saw the Underdark, a different plane of existence, home to nightmare-fueled creatures. The giant, the Oni, and the dark elf all stepped through the rift, with the giant holding 3 of the bodies in his grip, Justice included. The rift closed, the party still trying to process everything they just witnessed. Time was short. Before they noticed, Belek was staring directly at them. The battle with Belek was the greatest challenge for the group so far. At one point, everyone was unconscious, with only Honeybadger barely holding it together. 2 of Belek's attacks that would have definitely downed the bugbear went wide, long enough for Hot Pocket, of all people, to make an appearance. Under the cover of his elvish cloak, he appeared next to the unconscious Jackie, using arcane abilities to instill life to the unconscious half-elf. Jackie rose to her feet in time to see Belek finally succeeding in knocking Honeybadger unconscious. Thinking he was successful in the battle, he didn't notice Jackie's bolt of fire soaring towards his head. The attack was enough to put an end to the mage, leaving Jackie to fall back and take a breath. The battle was done. The surviving residents of Brimcham were out of harm's way for now. Over the next few days, the party escorted the survivors back home. As this chapter of their journey comes to an end, there's still a number of questions remaining. Why was Justice's body in the possession of the Oni? And how was the Underdark involved? How will the authorities in Brimcham respond to the returning adventurers? Where do they go from here? This has merely been the first chapter of the Dimhaven Campaign. Sunday, July 1st, 4:30 p.m. Pacific, we pick up as the heroes return to Brimcham. Will it be to a hero's welcome? Or will they be returned to the chains they were wearing when this whole thing started? We'll find out then. See you there. Cheers.